So I think, yes, we are live on YouTube, and today we have Katrina Haynes with us. So Katrina have started as an Haynes and Associate in 2015.
So I think, yes, we are live on
And
YouTube.
recently started
Today
in
we have
and she recently started as in working as a global mobility and tax manager for the Coca-Cola company. So Katrina also specializes in individual tax, payroll, and assignment compensation issues. And since moving to Atlanta 10 years ago, Katrina has continued her long-term relationship with NABA, which is National Association of Black Accountants. She is also actively involved with Gigi's Playhouse. And today, I think early morning, what the session which we have with Katrina is more on, as you have seen the title actually. So she has been a big inspiration for the US CPA community. And we are so proud at Simandhar Education to have Katrina Haynes today with us. Apart from she have worked with almost all the big fours, and over 19 years of experience is what she possesses. So I will not take much time of the people and straight away come to the what do you say, the questions and all. And we are so excited to hear from Katrina first. So first of all, welcome Katrina to Simandhar Education today. And thanks for sharing your journey. I can see your baby also. And
Yes.
I know how tough it is. I think that kinds of gives us the signal how the journey would have been for Katrina Haynes. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us today, early morning
Thank you.
in India and night in US.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for having me.
So Katrina, the first question is, I know you have taken almost 9 years, 27 attempts, and over $18,000 US, right, to pass US CPA. So why did
Yes.
you do US CPA? What made you to pursue the US CPA qualification?
Well, when I started my journey, I knew that I wanted to be in the public accounting field long term. And so I just felt that it was important. It was an important designation to have to solidify me as a professional and also to show my commitment to the profession.
Okay, that's good. So did you take any training for US CPA, Katrina?
I did. I took a lot of different courses. I started with the Becker courses, which a lot of new students are directed in that path. I've taken almost, because it took me so many different times to pass, I had to realize that maybe that one system wasn't working for me and to just try to find another system that worked. So I ended up working with BISC, I worked with Wiley, and ultimately Gleim was the most, it helped me the most just because they taught the way I learned. And I think I didn't realize that until about halfway through. It doesn't matter if Becker works for everyone, that's great, but I'm not everyone. And if that's not the way I learn, I can go through the system 100 times, it's not going to work for me. So I think that that was the biggest hurdle to overcome, was figuring out the way that I learned so that I could find a system that matched so that I could be more efficient. And once I found that system, I was able to get it done pretty quickly.
So I think this is a very, very important answer by Katrina, that you select a review provider which suits you, right? So not that going with Becker, not going with Wiley, or going with Gleim or Brisk or anything. The review
Yes.
provider which suits you, because today we see so many review providers coming up with a biased view. Some of the students style go with Becker, some of the students style go with Wiley, some of the students style go with Gleim is the best, Sargent is best. So I
Yes.
think let us not go with that. Let us go with what suits you best. Please start your 15 days free trial and understand that which is that review
Exactly.
provider which will suit you. And I think then is that the decision you must be taking, whether to invest in that review course provider or not. I think that's where some of the things have to be very clear when you're starting your journey. I think, Katrina, thank you so much for
Yes.
that. Our third
Yes.
question is, how many times you felt that you didn't prepare successfully, and what were the problems you were facing when you were preparing for the US CPA? I mean, what was the reasons why you were not able to clear the exam?
So the first thing is that I was I started working, and I felt that work was more important than the exam. So I would take on more work at work, knowing that I was also studying for the exam, and that wouldn't leave me as much time to take the exam. And what I found was, while my employers appreciated my ability to work, they didn't appreciate the fact that I wasn't getting the exam done as well. And if they'd had a choice, they would have chosen that I'd focused more on the exam and less on the work, just to get it behind me. So that was one of the things I mentioned that. I mentioned that not having the right software was also an issue. So not having a software that spoke to me, that allowed me to pass quickly, because it didn't teach me the way I needed to learn. But I think it's just really taking it seriously. I think you also need to set reasonable expectations. It's a very difficult exam, and it's also curved. So if you expect to pass the first time and you don't set yourself up for success, I apologize for the little person, but if you don't set yourself up for success, it's not going to happen. So I think you just really have to set reasonable expectations to make sure that you're successful.
So I think that is what, so that's a very important message by Katrina, because that's what she says. She was a working professional, and as a working professional, it sometimes becomes difficult to manage people. Along with that, you need to manage your work, and then we can see Katrina is having a good time with her baby as well. So
Right.
the journey, I mean, it is not so easy to achieve anything, but today I am seeing it practically on a YouTube live, so that I can check what is going on with so many people here. And I think this is one of the most important point which she says, that you need to be very clear. So I think in India, Katrina, we have our Simandhar live classes also, where we have our own instructors apart from Becker. So they also, so we are the Becker partners. Apart from the Becker, we also give our own live classes of Simandhar, which helps the students to understand and go in depth of the concept. I know that apart from the review provider, it is important that a teacher plays an important role. I think that is something we have been doing little consistently, I would say here. So which section you felt was very tough, Katrina? What do you think? The section which annoyed you the most or troubled you the most?
The one that I passed, 3 of the 4 parts multiple times. So I passed ethics, BEC, audit, and regulation. I passed them multiple times. Financial, I only passed 1 time. And I think it was because of 2 things. One, the volume of the information, and the fact that I'm a tax professional. I've always been a tax professional. And so the financial and regulatory information was not familiar to me. So that I found to be the hardest, just because of the amount of the information and the fact that the information was just not as familiar to me as ethics or even audit. The financial information is just a lot, and you just never know what's going to appear. There's so much to know, and the simulations are very complicated. So for me, financial was the hardest to pass, and it was the one I only passed once. I got 74s on financial probably about 10 times, but I only passed it the 1 time.
That's that's a terrific information, Katrina. To be honest, actually, I am one of the instructor for FAR at
Yeah.
Simandhar. So I teach FAR, so I know how tougher it is,
Yeah.
and I know how much hours we need to spend around for the students. We have a lot of students at Simandhar who are not from financial background. So if they are not from the accounting background, it makes it more tougher for them. So that's where we kind of teach them the concepts, the journal entries again, and kind of make them ready. Do you think that so were you from an accounting background or were you from a non-accounting background when you started your journey? Because that is one question, because a lot of them ask, and even in a review course provider, because here apart from the Becker, we also insist that when we are providing the classes, we teach from the basics and the concepts, because we assume that all of them are non-accounting. And I think that's the best way to start off with when we are training the students. But in your case, were you from an accounting background or were you from a non-accounting background?
So I had an accounting degree, but I started in tax. So even though I had an accounting degree, my career was very tax based. So the tax section of the exam was pretty straightforward. That's what I dealt with most of the time. But the rest of it was just, it was not, even though I was an accounting professional and I worked for accounting firms, it just wasn't as familiar for me.
Okay. So I think because of the taxation section as such, and your career is in tax, and that would have kind of made your things little worst, I would say, because in the FAR, I think that is kind of journal entries. There are so much of things to learn, especially the governmental accounting. So
Yes.
popular request from students, what is your views on F8, F9, F10, which is the governmental non-for-profit accounting? What do you think? Did it
Yeah.
give a nightmare to you, or it was a cakewalk for you? What do you think about governmental accounting stuff?
I still do not enjoy governmental accounting. I think about it like this. You just have to learn it for the exam. I know of it when I hear of it because I remember even some of the questions, and it's been 9 years since 11 years since I've passed. I can still see or hear some of the questions and know that was on the CPA exam. I know this because it was on the CPA exam and I had to study it so many times. But I'm not, if I never see it again, I'll be happy.
So I think there is a new update from 2024. I think the CPA pattern is changing. So that's what was confirmed by NASBA and AICPA, the project which is there. And the good news is that governmental accounting won't be there at all from
Whew,
2024. So I think
that's
4 years
good.
more, and I think you won't see governmental not-for-profit accounting, hopefully,
Yeah.
in FAR. So that is a update which we have received. So I'm not sure how sooner that update will come into practice, but 2024 is the deadline for the new
Yeah.
content, because the technology is being added, and a few more sections are also being planned,
Mm-hmm.
and the qualification is more focused on having the technology part also in the
Right.
CPA curriculum. So that's
Yeah.
something which is interesting from AICPA. So
Yeah.
what did you do differently in the last attempt to succeed? I mean, you have given almost taken 9 years and so many attempts. So what
Mm-hmm.
was that last attempt which you did it differently in order to pass?
So
Good.
it kind of happened by chance. I ended up being on a medical leave from my job, and because of the timing, I was out all of the April 15th busy season. And after about 2 weeks, I felt fine, but I was with Deloitte at the time, and they gave us 90 days of medical leave for anything. So I had all this time, and I was like, well, time to study for the CPA exam. And I really just allowed it to consume my every presence. There's so many things. The exam is not just about the numbers and the test itself, because it is curved and you're testing not against the information, which you need to know the information, but you're also testing against the people that are taking the test with you. So you have to be comfortable and confident so that you can get the information out and get the best possible score. But being comfortable could also be, what testing center are you in? So I had a testing center that was right by my home that was convenient, but I just didn't feel comfortable there. So I would drive an extra 45 minutes to get to a different testing center that made me feel more comfortable. When is a good time? When do you take tests the best? So for me, April 15th was not a good time to take a test because I had a tax deadline. So for me, I tested best around the holidays when everybody else was getting ready for Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. That's when I would test the best. So just knowing when's a good time for you to even schedule your exams. And I mentioned setting realistic expectations. Are you really going to pass it all the first time? Be comfortable with the fact that you might not, and that's okay. Not that you don't want to set yourself up for failure, but you also just want to be realistic. Everybody can't pass it the first time, even if they are studying the hardest that they can. So I think for me, it was just really taking that time and absorbing it 100% so that I could really make sure that I passed it.
I think that's a very, very important thought process from Katrina, because even at our institute, I've been talking about giving multiple attempts. So attempts really don't matter in when you're preparing, because what at the end of the day, you need to be very clear. If you have joined an institute, you have joined in to prove something or to learn something. So if your intention is to learn something, then you would be only striving for it. So it doesn't matter
Right.
whether you pass or fail, because the end of the day, what matters is how much you have learned and how much you have strived for that learning. So
Exactly.
counting your success with numbers and all, and telling that you have taken so many attempts, I think that really don't matter. And that's what Katrina have put it so beautifully, because
Yes.
what ultimately matters is how much you have learned, and not how
Yes.
much you have given it 5 times or 6 times. So I think that have
Hmm.
been beautifully being put into by Katrina.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very, very good information, Katrina. So what is your definition of success, Katrina? I know that, I mean, you have taken, now you have achieved the Wisconsin license
Hmm.
by oneself for licensed CPA. So I can just imagine being a licensed CPA. It's such a great feeling to
Hmm.
have a license. So I've seen that LinkedIn post where you put it up that
Yes.
you got the Wisconsin license. First of all, congratulations
Hmm.
so much
Thank you.
for that.
Thank
You
you.
passed your CPA in 2009 and you got the
Hmm.
license now. So
Hmm.
what is that Katrina is doing differently now? So she is now, I think you are having your own CPA firm now.
Hmm.
What are
Yes.
you? What's your next step, and why do you think a US CPA license is so important for a student to achieve that?
I think it's just an important career milestone. It's just you want a doctor to have a MD, you want an attorney to have a Juris Doctorate. You want to have the certification that goes along with the profession, especially if you're serious. Is it necessary? I've seen some people posting saying, "Well, it wasn't worth it to me. It wasn't worth it to me." Well, that's fine, and that's your journey. For me, I felt it solidified my professional myself as an accounting professional. And to answer your other question, success is anything that you strive for as long as you don't give up. Because you never know why it's going to take what it takes or why you have to put in the amount of time or effort. But had I passed the exam on the first time, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much. I wouldn't value my position as much. And I may not even still be in the profession. I know at this point, I don't care how long I work or what I do, I'm never letting that license go. I can be retired from work, but that license is going to be active because I did have to work so hard for it. So for me, at one point it almost became a personal mission, like I'm not going to let this test beat me, so I have to keep going. And that's just kind of the the mentality I take in everything, is if you're going to do it, as long as you don't give up, you'll be successful.
I think that is a very, very important point by Katrina, because she was, the fight was not with the exam. The fight was with herself. That why was she not able to do it? And I think one more important thing is, if you pass it on the first attempt, I think Katrina, we have a chartered accountancy exam in India. So I say to so many students when I used to teach CA at our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So there's, and that is considered to be one of the toughest exams in I would say in the world. And that's what it is. So like it is being said, like it's the second or third toughest after IAS, which is our civil services exam in India. And there is always a talk that whenever people give multiple attempts, so we always tell them that if you would have passed at first attempt, you wouldn't have valued your qualification. And so beautifully you have said that actually if you pass it at first attempt, you might not value your qualification much. Now since you have taken so much time, so I think that would give you kind of push, and that you might value the qualification more now, and you might respect the qualification more. So that is something which is a very, very good piece of advice to even the chartered accountancy students of India who have been taking so many attempts. So I normally tell them that if you have taken more than 4 5 attempts to stick to CPA and pass that, now I think I will change my advice to them, and I'll tell them that you keep striving for it and do both the qualification. It doesn't matter. You do CA and
Yeah,
CPA both, but don't leave CA. Don't quit it.
exactly.
I think
And
the fight is more
yeah.
with yourself.
And I would say sometimes you need to take a break. Sometimes it gets to be too much. And that's okay, but just don't let that break become permanent.
Yes. So I think we can go into the next part of our thing. So, what are your tips to people who are pursuing for US CPA? I mean, I would definitely hear from you because you would definitely want to advise them the mistakes which you have done or which you could have corrected properly. So, the as a new US CPA aspirant here at Simandhar, who are the people who are starting, the students who are starting with US CPA, what is that three advisors you would want to give them so that they set the thing straight and don't do the mistakes, or be very very careful if they're writing for the very first time? What are the three things you would advise, Katrina, for them?
So the first thing is figure out how you absorb information. So are you the type of person that needs an instructor-led solution? Are you someone who can do self-study? Once you figure that out, and like you mentioned, use the 15-day free trial to find the software solution that's going to work for you. If you don't have the right software solution, you're never going to pass. And the right software solution is not going to be the same for every single person. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to find your testing window. When do you test the best? Is it going to be over the holidays? Is it going to be in April? Find that window that works the best for you, because you'll be the most successful. And then the third is just make sure that you are prepared when you come into the test. Confidence is key, but making sure setting those reasonable expectations and knowing that you're not dumb if you don't pass the test the first time. You're not dumb if you don't pass it 27 times. It's just an obstacle that you need to overcome. And the only way you're going to get there is just to keep trying.
So I think that is a very, very important three-pointer from Katrina. The people who are preparing for the US CPA for the first time, I think the first important thing is to find out who are your best instructors, who are your best teachers, rather than going with the review materials or review providers in the market. Just understand, I think the teachers are very important than the product itself. So I think that is something for a person who's starting your US CPA career at a starting point. So I would say the first piece of advice Katrina gives is to find out a software which is suiting your needs. Apart from that, a good teacher would definitely help you around, who'd there with you as a live instructor, helping you around, a mentoring kind of thing. And the second important thing is, I think scheduling is what Katrina have said, that you need to schedule your exam section properly. People who are preparing with Deloitte, so we are tied up with Deloitte, we are tied up with EY. So I think the big four folks who are watching me today at Samandar, I think this is a very, very important piece of advice. Don't go for your section at your busy months, right? So I think December is what Katrina went into and passed her CPA exam. I think that was very, very important. So that were the crucial months for her. She didn't had it in April 15th because that was her busy season as such. And I think the third thing is to plan properly. I think that it never matters. Try to accept that even if you have not passed it. So I think that's not a problem. So, but planning is a very, very important part of your journey. So, Katrina, I can see the struggle now in the video itself, actually, because the way.
Yes, go to sleep.
So I know I have a small baby, so he's
Yes.
up there, and my wife is managing. My wife is handling him, and I can tell that it is not at all
Yeah.
easy for a woman. I can
Oh,
seriously feel that and sense that, because today when I'm trying to do an interview, so
yes.
lady have so many responsibilities. Guys are very easygoing and all, so we don't enjoy that kind of. I mean, we enjoy that kind of things because see, my wife is there and she handles the baby and all, and I have nothing to do taking the interviews, but not the same with ladies, right? So
Right, right.
immense respect to that, I would say. And actually, to be honest, this was a quick 20 minutes, I would say, an interview which would be inspiring for next years to come for all the students. And the video itself kinds of gives you the substance over form concept. Though in form it looks very easy, but see in the substance it looks so tougher for Katrina to handle the kid, to do certain things which she needs to do it. And I think she have kind of the video itself gives an explanation that how's the journey has been there for the female professionals. It is not an easy thing. What do you think, guys? And that's the kind of things what we are witnessing today. And I'm very fortunate to take the interview of yours, Katrina. So one final question which we have, and I think that would be the final question of our interview also. So what do you think after passing a CPA? So I think you are into the journey of entrepreneurship. So do you think after 19 years of experience with Big Fours and all other companies, what do you recommend to students? Should they start a CPA firm on their own, or should they try to kind of work in a Big Four and get the experience? Or what is the third thing? What would the best advice for the students would be now?
I think that there's no substitute for a Big Four experience. You get exposure to so much at the same time. And then it'll help you decide if you even want to do something different. Um, it's easy for me to tell people, I mean, I don't tell people not to go to Big Four. I just have them, it's about expectations. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be hard, but it's definitely worth it. It really helps to have those names on your resume. If you want to go into industry later, if you want to be an entrepreneur later, you will learn so much so fast in a public accounting environment. So I am for it, even if it's just for 2 or 3 years.
So I think that is a very, very important information, Katrina, because the people who are preparing for US CPA, I think after CPA, public accounting experience, I think the most important thing, having I also worked with EY. So what we have learned is the soft skills. So how do you talk? How do you conduct yourself? I think Big Four teaches that. And it is very important in a career, at least once a person should work with a company like Deloitte, EY, or KPMG or PwC. Fortunate that we are tied up with them. So once they pass, Katrina, students, we normally place them in EY. So this time in Deloitte, EY, and also we had a couple of students we placed it recently, like a couple of weeks back. And I think they will observe that Big Four experience will add so much of value to their career. And I think Katrina is right, telling that after even getting that experience, you can use that experience in your practice as well. When you tell to your clients that you've worked with EY, you've worked with KPMG, so they normally respect that a lot. So I think, Katrina, that's a kind of such an I would say 20 minutes of a great interview. I would say you have handled it so properly along with
Thank you.
and I think a lot of them might tell that why Shripal could have taken at the odd time and could have planned it proper way and do it. But guys, I wanted to do this impromptu, unscripted. I've not prepared any questions. I've just called Katrina and I said, Katrina, you need to come in and just tell it. And Katrina, and this is what life is. Sometimes subtly it comes and you need to accept it. And she took up the challenge and she did it, because we want to see the reality, how it is, and how it is to handle, to manage your studies along with the baby that time, and how it was now also for Katrina. It's not so easy, and for a female professional it is always not easy. So that's why they tell that they are the ones who take up that additional pressure, additional responsibility. And having said that, I think this have been one of the best interviews so far, and my key takeaways from Katrina would be that if you pass it in the first attempt, very good, you are the best. If you don't pass it in first attempt, you're super cool, because then you will value your qualification more, because you have taken that efforts to achieve that. And the satisfaction of passing something after a long period of time, that cannot be measured in any terms, neither in monetary terms or neither in anything. The satisfaction is beyond what we feel it. So I am so fortunate to have Katrina today. Thank you so much, Katrina, for your short interview. I have made it short and
Oh,
crisp. Didn't took much of your time. And
thank you.
I apologize if we had anything or mistakes or anything from my end.
No,
And even to the viewers, guys, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please do comment, and please do share this video a lot, so that so many people can be aware of that, and they then don't get demotivated if they fail and all. So I would really request all of them to please keep liking it, subscribing it, and keep sharing it, so that many of the people get aware of this inspiring success stories which have come. And today I think Katrina have given us that, and I'm so happy to interview her today. Thank you so much, Katrina. Thanks a lot. And And let's be connected. I think Katrina can
Yes.
be reached out on LinkedIn. So she's
Yes.
active on LinkedIn with Katrina Haynes. So you
Hmm.
can kind of, I will also post it in the comment side of our video so that you can connect with Katrina. Katrina, you'll have a lot of LinkedIn requests after this video.
That's
Because,
fine.
so I think you would be ready to help all these students because they'll be reaching out to you with your study plans and all sort of stuff. And I think that could also help a lot of the students in that way.
Yes, I'm happy to help. So feel free.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Thanks a lot. Any last
Thank
words you
you.
want to close it with the video?
I just want to say, if you are struggling or if you feel that you can't do it, you can do it. There are people there that have passed that aren't nearly as smart as you, whoever you are. So just keep doing it. And I always used to tell myself that it's statistically impossible to fail 100% of the time. So just keep going, hang in there, and you'll get it done.
So I think that's a very important information. Don't care for what people tell, why you have failed, why are you writing so many times. So I think when it's your journey, it is your journey. It is not their journey. So when it is your journey, so it is important that you really don't care a damn about people, what they think, how many attempts they have taken, because you are not here to impress the people. You are here to learn something. And Katrina is absolutely right. Success is not by seeing others; it is by seeing your own self. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. And stay tuned and stay updated and keep subscribing to our videos and keep sharing it. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot, Katrina. Thank you.
Thank you.